Okay, I just wanted to record a little walkthrough of how I use sound particles to design some of the design stuff in the new sound effects library Surge. So one of the things that it does is it is really good at generating bursts. So I'm just going to do that. So I've got a file here with a bunch of different types of bursts in it. Or not bursts, but just little water jet things. So I'm just going to dump those into Pro Tools. You do have to prep your samples first, which is a thing that bothers some people, but it doesn't bother me too bad. Something with a little more wateriness to it, just to give it that vibe. So then I'm going to take both of these things and just strip silence them out. Something like that. What I want, basically, maybe I got to come up like that, is the tops of the files to all start right at the beginning. That guy and just break it, boink, like that. And then I'm going to take these guys and put them into two different folders. I'm just doing this at 48K, but you can obviously do it at 96. So I'm going to do a grains folder. We'll call one blasts. We'll call this one water. So I've got a couple of layers that I'll put together there. And then we go to sound particles. And I'm gonna, they have a bunch of templates in here that'll essentially get us to these spots, but I'll just show you how I build these things from scratch. So first thing we do is look at our microphone setup. This one I could do in stereo. I have it at 48K. Here's where you can set it to 96 if you want. I'm just doing 48 just to speed my render time for the demo. And then I've got a mic system here. So if I click on mic system, I've got it as a stereo mic. I like going ORTF to make stuff wide often. Like that. And then I go into my Finder and jump into my grains here. And we're going to create a particle. Let's call it an emitter for now. So the difference between a group and an emitter is a group is a set number of particles that exist only once, and an emitter will just generate as many as you want for a certain period of time. So let's do an emitter first. And it gives you a starting shape here, but let's get our blasts in there. There we go. And it gives a starting shape. For this thing, I'm going to go for a circle inside. And you can drag this timeline around a little bit here to see exactly what's up with it. Short radius, right? Just 2 meters, maybe 1 meter of starting point there. So it's going to start right at the top of it. And then kind of nothing else is happening. So all it did was just create the player things, right? For the sounds. And then I'm going to move them. So we can move the particles with velocity, and now we can see that they're moving. It starts out with a kind of random one, and we're doing 10 particles a second for 3 seconds. Let's just do 5 particles per second. So our random velocity is kind of 10 meters per second per. If we want it to go faster than that, we can do that. Go like, 50 meters per second on the X and the Y axis. So now they're moving a little bit faster, like that. And if I hit the render button, so that's kind of what that is. So now if I wanted to make it much tighter than that, what I would do is I would reduce the duration to half a second and increase the number of particles to like 20. We've got that kind of vibe there. You can reduce the duration even more, increase the particles even more. Regenerate them. Because it's only one, this needs to be like at 400 or something to get a lot of them. There we go. Now, one thing that's happening here is that all those are relatively the same pitch and loudness and things. So what I can do is I can throw some random gains on there. So some of them are louder than others. I can put some random time and pitch in there so that some of them, these both default to plus or minus 12 dB and plus or minus 12 semitones. So that gives us a little bit more of that. I can spread that out a little bit more. So we go 0.2 seconds. Or I can do it like this, where I add some random delays in here too. Go half a second worth of random delay before they fire. Something like that. And then, if we want to add a little bit more liquidity to it, we can take this guy and duplicate it and lose all of the audio files that were in there from before. Add the water swirls, like so. And maybe we make the water move a little bit slower than the blast. So maybe this guy only moves at half the rate of speed. Like so. There we go. That's turned into something. And then Shift V will regenerate and create new ones. And then I could take this particle emitter here and just relabel these guys. That's water. That's blast. Maybe I reduce the number of these guys down to 200 and spend more on the water. Maybe the blast is a little more staccato, so we can turn the delay off. Or maybe we just shorten the delay to like 0.2. There we go, got a little texture to it. Cool, and then from here we hit B, and we can batch these dudes out to an output folder. Like so. And don't like to save a project for each one. I do like to save one with all the things. We're going to give it a suffix. We'll call it water blast. And we're going to do, let's say 12 of these. You run the batch. There they go. We just call this guy water blast. Last batch. And if we chuck this dude into RX, there's all our water blasts. So basically, as soon as one ends, it fires another one. And it does regenerate the particles per. There it is.